New York had that habit, turning ordinary moments into something cinematic when the clouds broke open. Streets glistened like mirrors, yellow cabs hissed past like restless thoughts, and people hurried beneath umbrellas as if time itself were chasing them. Elias stood under the awning of a small, forgotten bookstore on West 23rd Street, holding a paper cup of coffee that had already gone cold. He had come there to escape the noise of his life, deadlines, expectations, and the quiet pressure of being good at something he no longer loved. He was a writer who hadn't written anything real in almost 2 years. Then she appeared. She ran toward the bookstore without an umbrella, dark hair plastered to her cheeks, dress soaked through, laughter breaking free from her lips like she was daring the rain to catch her. She nearly collided with him, skidding to a stop inches away. "I'm so sorry," she said breathlessly, eyes wide. "I swear the sidewalk moved." Elias blinked, then smiled before he could stop himself. "It does that sometimes." She laughed again, softer this time, and stepped beside him under the awning. For a moment, they simply listened to the rain drumming against the city. "I'm Mira," she said, holding out her hand. Elias. Her handshake was warm, confident. Real. Something in his chest shifted, subtle but unmistakable. They talked because there was nowhere else to go. Mira was an illustrator who worked freelance, drawing covers for indie authors and children's books. She loved old cities, strong coffee, and the quiet kind of mornings that felt like secrets. She hated small talk, alarm clocks, and the idea that life had to be rushed to be meaningful. Elias told her about his writing, how he used to love it, how words once felt like home, and how lately they felt like locked doors. "You're not broken," she said after he finished. "You're just between sentences." He stared at her, surprised. "You always talk like that." "Only when it's true." The rain slowed, then stopped. They should have said goodbye. Instead, they walked. Through side streets and puddles, past neon reflections and half-lit cafes, until the city softened around them. When they finally parted, it was with exchanged numbers and the strange certainty that something important had begun. Their first date wasn't really a date. It was a late-night diner in Brooklyn, where the coffee tasted burnt and the waitress called everyone, "hun." They sat in a cracked vinyl booth, sharing fries and stories like they had known each other for years. Mira sketched him on a napkin when she thought he wasn't looking. "You do that to everyone?" he asked. "Only people I don't want to forget." Elias kept that napkin in his wallet long after the ink faded. They wandered through art galleries, got lost in used record stores, argued about which movies deserved to be called masterpieces, and learned each other's silences. Mira hummed when she concentrated. Elias tapped his fingers when he was nervous. Both of them stayed up too late and felt too deeply. Falling in love didn't feel dramatic. It felt like recognition. But love, like cities, has hidden fault lines. 3 months in, Mira got an email that changed everything. A publishing house in Paris had seen her work online. They wanted her to illustrate a full graphic novel, 12 months, paid, credited, real. It was everything she had worked for. Paris. She read the email 3 times before telling Elias. "That's incredible," he said immediately, and he meant it. His smile was real, his voice steady. Only his hands betrayed him, clenched tight in his pockets. "I don't know what to do," she admitted. "I didn't plan for this." No one ever does. They sat on his apartment floor that night, backs against the couch, city lights blinking through the window like distant stars. "I don't want to lose us," Mira said quietly. Elias swallowed. "I don't want to be the reason you don't go." The truth sat heavy between them. Love didn't always ask for sacrifice. Sometimes it demanded honesty. The weeks before her departure were fragile and intense. They made memories on purpose. Sunrise walks over the Brooklyn Bridge, cheap wine on the fire escape, handwritten notes slipped into coat pockets. They loved each other fiercely, as if trying to compress a lifetime into days. On her last night, Mira pressed her forehead to his. "Promise me something," she said. "Anything. Don't stop writing, even if I'm not here to remind you." Elias nodded, his throat too tight for words. At the airport, she kissed him like she was memorizing his face. Then she was gone, swallowed by distance and departure boards. New York felt louder without her. Long-distance love was harder than either of them admitted. Time zones stole conversations. Deadlines stole energy. Missed calls turned into misunderstandings. Love letters turned into brief texts, then apologies for not having time. Elias started writing again, not stories but fragments. Scenes without endings. Dialogues that felt unfinished. Mira illustrated Paris in lines and shadows, but her drawings carried a quiet ache. Every bridge looked like it was waiting for someone. They fought, once, then twice, then not at all, which was worse. 3 months before her contract ended, Mira stopped calling. Not completely, just less. Elias told himself it was normal. He told himself love could survive this. But doubt has a voice, and it knows where to whisper. The night everything broke, Elias received a message that wasn't meant for him. It was short, casual, "I miss you, can't wait until tonight." It wasn't signed, but it didn't need to be. His chest burned as he stared at the screen. He didn't confront her. He didn't accuse. He simply went quiet. When Mira finally called, her voice bright and tired, he couldn't hide the distance. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Are you happy?" He replied. Silence stretched. "I care about you," she said carefully. That wasn't the question. The truth came out in pieces. A fellow artist. Lonely nights. Comfort mistaken for certainty. Regret already forming. "I never stopped loving you," Mira said, tears in her voice. Elias closed his eyes. Sometimes love isn't enough. They said goodbye without cruelty, without drama. Just the quiet devastation of two people who had loved honestly and failed gently. 6 months passed. Elias published a short story in a literary journal. Then another. His words returned slowly, carrying pain and beauty in equal measure. Mira finished her project and stayed in Paris longer than planned. She grew, changed, learned the cost of choices. They didn't speak. Until one October evening, when Elias found himself back at the same bookstore on West 23rd Street. The rain began again. "Funny how the sidewalk still moves," a familiar voice said. He turned. Mira stood there, older somehow, steadier. Real in a way memory could never capture. "You're back," he said. "For good," she replied. "If you'll have me in your life. Even just as a chapter." They didn't rush. They walked. They talked. They apologized without excuses and forgave without conditions. They rebuilt, slower this time, wiser. Love returned, not as fire, but as something stronger. Home. Years later, Elias would write a novel about a city, a storm, and a woman who taught him how to begin again. Mira would illustrate it, and New York, endless and alive, would learn their names at last.